So I should probably grab a microphone. What's up? How's it going, everybody? I've missed your face. Oh, little sluggish, little tired, a little slow this morning, but excited because we've got a fantastic guest coming on. We've got some awesome payloads to look at, doing a little bit of key crocking and bash bunnying and building infrastructure. Love building some infrastructure. So hello, FBI. It is 10 a.m. on Monday morning here in Austin, Texas. Feeling pretty good. Had a very chill weekend and getting geared up to have a very eventful next couple of weeks. Oh my gosh. I am still in Austin, Texas. Justin J Tech, it's good to see you. Hack Across America will continue. It's just taking a little breather here. Good news is the van, the peanut, as it were, got its rear differential replaced. How do you bust a rear diff? I don't even know, but it was under warranty, so I don't really care. And it's given me the opportunity to kind of just, chill out for a bit and take a break from the road, which is nice. Been taking the most opportunity though here with like Lake Travis and all the stuff that's going on in Austin to kind of might be tack into a different direction here soon. So yeah. Yeah, it's Texas is different, but Austin is just weird and rad, and I love it. And it as soon as you cross the Continental Divide to like the eastern side of the country, it just becomes a different world. There's mosquitoes and there's like lush everything, and there's not a whole lot of BLM land to free camp on. But the folks are nice, and there's plenty of opportunities for all sorts of fun. So I've been taking advantage of that, and we'll probably be jibing over to Florida here soon. So look out, Florida. I know it's kind of ridiculous going to Florida. Actually, I'm just connecting through Miami. We'll see. We're going somewhere fun. We're leaving the United States. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun continuation of this trip here soon. I'm excited to get back to the peanut. I'm seeing it tomorrow. It has a new temporary home until we get settled. Back in. Man, okay, so let me add some stuff. There is great barbecue in Austin, Justin J Tech. That's how I found this apartment. I got my dates mixed up on my Mercedes dealership appointment for service. Ended up crossing into downtown Austin and going, oh crap, I got the dates wrong. Pulled over and was like, oh, this is familiar. I was here in February and I remember there being really good barbecue right down there. So I did. And then lo and behold, I'm like, this is a cute neighborhood. Pull up my phone. I wonder what's available. Literally like 3-month lease, picking up somebody else's like, what is it called? Sublet. And I'm like, 3 months of this? Boom, let's do this. So I blame the barbecue. Yep. Project Pollo has some really good vegan chicken if y'all are ever into it. There's an amazing taco scene here too. There's some like bomb vegetarian tacos. Austin, Texas, Lucky. It's good to see you, man. We're just talking about hitting the road again here soon. Next stop is Miami. How do I add the thing I want to add? There we go. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen, wie geht's? Was los? Paperboy22 joining us in chat alongside Josette777 and Lucky225. But that's not why you guys joined in. You guys joined in because you are in for a treat. You're in for a treat because we have none other than the Hak5 community's own Panic Acid. Dude.
Now then, how do you?
How's it going, man?
I can't complain. It's nice and late where I am. It's early where you are, isn't it?
Yeah. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in Wakefield, which is in West Yorkshire in England.
Oh, okay. Well, how far is that from Manchester?
Oh, don't talk to me about Manchester because I'm from Leeds originally, and we notoriously dislike people from Manchester.
Well, so in my mind, I do this counterclockwise loop around Great Britain to like kind of figure out where things are, and it's like it's London, Sheffield, Manchester, Birmingham, back around. And so in relationship to those four things, that's where I know where stuff is. Oh, except maybe Holyhead.
I'm a little bit north of Sheffield. So Manchester's about an hour away, an hour and 30 minutes at best.
Okay. Oh, if you're north of Sheffield, that sounds rad.
Yeah, no, it's quite nice. You'll have to forgive me. I'll be honest, I'm absolutely terrified. It's fine. So I used to stream on Twitch quite a lot, actually. But I've not done it for a long time, and I've not been on somebody else's stream.
Oh, don't worry. There's no one on this stream, dude. It's just you and me. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I don't bite usually. Dude, well, it's good to see you. I was just about to check out this ridiculous payload here. Oh, there's the peanut. Have you seen this crazy PR from Cribbit?
No, let's take a look.
You have a do you have yourself a key croc? Have you played with that guy?
I don't have a key croc. No, so I've got Land Turtle, got the original Land Turtle, Bash Bunny Mark 1, Bash Bunny Mark 2, Pineapple Nano, Pineapple Mark 7. I think that's it, to be honest. Oh, no, I've got Shark Jack as well.
Oh, my gosh. Love the shark. Well, we're definitely going to have to solve that deficiency. But in the meantime, yeah, the key croc, it's kind of fun because we never envisioned some of the ridiculous gymnastics that people were going to be able to do when you've got a smart keylogger. You know, a keylogger that allows you to literally like inject keystrokes into the machine based on what they type. And so when we were updating Ducky script and adding a bunch of really cool stuff into it for, you know, matching on regular expressions or on just strings that people type and all of the other cool keystroke injection commands like holding keys and releasing keys and I don't know, just I barely remember at this point. It's one of these things where you're like so in development, just get it done. Oh my God. And then you can like rattle off like every little bit and bob about the thing. And then you're like, okay, it's done. And then you're like off to the new thing and you just like instantly forget like literally everything. So I'm like, Key Croc, that's the one that chomps keyboards.
Yeah, it's really difficult because like I've got so many projects that I've started and then feature creep kicks in.
Oh yeah.
And you think, oh, actually I can make this better if I do this, I can make this better. And then you never end up actually finishing the project. Right? So sometimes you've just got to put it out there and fine tune it later, I think.
Yeah, I feel like there's something to be said about good. You know, like good is good, but like perfect that doesn't get released is nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes good is good enough, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, and you look around at like everything else that's out there, right? And a lot of stuff is just crap. And you're like, well, my good is like 10 times better than the crap that's out there that like people are beating the drum on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, put out good and then make it perfect later. Or in this case, put out good and then realize like, holy crap, didn't consider this as a use case. That's the beauty of making a platform that's like so versatile is you have no idea how people are going to use it. I'm just going to pop both these here on Oh, come on. I want the raw. Give me.
Yeah, so I was actually, when Cribbit first put that in chat on the Discord, I was pretty amazed by the fact that it made a text adventure game.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is here. And so I want to throw both of these on and give it a run through because it looks absolutely ridiculous. I started to read it and then I was like, nope, don't ruin it for yourself. And all right, view file. Gonna pop. Oh, I guess I don't even need the README. It's literally just the payload txt. Yep. See, I know how key crocs work. You put a payload txt in the payloads folder. Boop boop boop. Under payloads. That's it. And they all have their own unique match. Deviating there from the norm, it not being payload.txt, because you can have multiple concurrent running. So actually, I'm going to get rid of these because I don't want them to mess with whatever else might be running. So we'll just, you know what? There's another way to do it. I think it's like you rename the file and put disabled underscore. But again, I can't remember. This is all in the documentation. Just did a massive ebook for the key croc, and it's like 100 pages. And I'm like, oh my God, talk about feature creep.
All the commands should be fresh in your mind then.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, a good deal of them, a good portion of them were just bash, because like standing on the shoulders of giants, like this is, looking at this, it's like, okay, we got quack commands, we got waiting for input. But the thing that I'm realizing about this is he's not doing additional matches. So this payload, right? So we'll get into it, but essentially it's a little labyrinth text adventure thing. And you start it by typing, shall we play a game? Love the nod. And then otherwise, from there, it specifies where the characters are, and they're in, your character log, root loot. But when he actually looks for your input, when he's waiting for your input, this is crazy. Okay, so quack string, greater than, and then basically while looking for characters in that file, he's waiting to see if they're what we expect, or he's just passing them on, and then we're just tailing one character off that file. Crazy. So that's something we never even considered as a way to, like, it's almost like a sub match within a payload. It's like your payload runs, like your payload executes when the keystrokes that you're looking for get matched. But then what if the payload itself is looking for certain keystrokes? It has to do literally this function, which could make its way into an extension. But in any event, very cool.
Yeah, so you could nest as many of them as you want in theory, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's no limit. Actually, funnily enough, we're working on another programming language, and I think there is actually a nesting limit. We realized building something out that's awesome and Turing complete and all that jazz, that as it turns out, you could only nest if or while or whatever you want 65,536 times, which I guess is just gonna have to be good enough.
I'm not sure. I've done some really, really shoddy PowerShell scripts that are quite a lot of ifs, whiles, and else ifs. So
I know, right?
There was a post on Twitter the other day, and it said you're not really a coder if all your code is if and else statements. And I felt personally attacked because that is the majority of the stuff that I write in PowerShell.
Well, here's the crazy thing about it. I mean, at the end of the day, there's really only it all gets broken down to assembly. So all of those fancy, for loops and everything else is just sugar, right? And it's ifs and go-tos, really, if you want to get down to it. You ever program BASIC?
No, not yet.
I don't recommend it. Yeah, that's what I started on. But very, very rudimentary. And yeah, when you really think about like what's happening in in switch cases and all of the other stuff, it's really just a bunch of go-tos. But I am not the most well-versed to speak to that. I just like to think up crazy stuff and then and then Dallas or Corbin and Foxtrot really bring it to life.
So do you like draft it out in shorthand and then send it to those guys and say this is kind of what I want it to do?
No, it's a collaboration thing, actually.
Okay.
Very much so. Like we just get hop in a Hangout or a Google Meet or whatever, and it's like there's the general idea, but yeah, that's when we all like jump in and allow it to become feature creep. But it finds its path. It finds like where the critter wants to go. So I wish that I had, all of my stuff is in storage. I wish I had some of these like old prototypes to show, because like the original crab, for instance, totally different form factor. Totally different like use case. And so a lot of times what it is, I'll set the bar like, okay, cool. So it needs to do X, right? And then what gets delivered is so like far above and beyond that, because I think maybe sometimes do something like, let's just make a hammer, and then it's a Swiss Army hammer, but it is what it ends up being. Yeah. All right, so I've got it plugged in. I loaded the payload. I'm just gonna fire up like, I don't know, a text editor, and make this huge.
And everybody's favorite line from Saw.
Excuse me?
It's do you want to play a game, isn't it?
Yes. It's and of course, being on the road, I've been such a minimalist that this is literally my testing keyboard.
Right.
So I'm going to poorly type that. Yeah. All right, Professor Falcon, here we go. Oh, I have to turn it on. Hang on.
Technology for you.
Right. Shall we play a game? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that was way more satisfying than I expected it to be. Let's make that a lot bigger and word wrap break the ASCII art. Yeah. I don't know what it is about just seeing text painting across the screen. Do you ever do the bulletin board systems back in the day?
Back in the day with Telnet, yeah, very, very long time ago. And I keep saying to myself, I'm going to set one up.
Oh my God, how fun would that be?
Just to see if I can. But so I'm going through this phase at work where I'm starting to realize just how old I am now. And it's really difficult. So I'm 33, I'm 34 this year. I grew up on pre-Google days, dial-up, 33K modem, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of young guys on the help desk at work who have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to stuff like that. So every now and again, I'll show them that, there's the ASCII Star Wars. You can dial up on Telnet and you can watch the Star Wars thing. Every now and again, I'll show them that, and you'll try and explain that that's how certain things were back in the day, and they just have no idea. See, and it makes you feel so old.
Dude, it's not fair, because I'm not that much older than you, and I've gone through this numerous times now, and I feel like what it is our parents' generation, the world moved so much slower, and so they felt old probably after like certain technologies had changed or whatever, but like it was so much slower pace. You think about somebody that went from like the golden era of air travel and planes and trains and automobiles to like the jet age and the moon landing. It's like, okay, cool, those are like that's some major progress there, but like on a much slower scale. Like what really changed society wise, like to the average person, other than these like major accomplishments by like NASA and such.
Yeah.
And you think about how fundamentally our lives have changed since the smartphone. And I realized, like, holy crap, how crazy is it to be in your 30s and feel old because you grew up with this thing called television.
Yeah.
Television, right? Like these kids today that don't know, like they just don't know television, like flipping with the remote and just like clicking through all the channels.
Mine, you tuned it in by frequency. You only had like 4 channels. and two of them
It
went
was
off.
all the
Two of them
bead.
went off. Yeah. But yeah, they have absolutely no idea, and I don't know. It's a slow realization. I'm like, geez, I'm getting old.
Yeah, what's that going to do to the mind too? When like you've got that instant gratification of like the kids that grew up with an iPad and apps for entertainment, as opposed to the like you got to bear through the commercials and all the other, you know. Anyway, I know that there's no way to describe it without sounding like a crotchety old man talking about going to school, you know, in the snow up hills both ways. It's impossible.
Back in my day, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just not fair that we're of that generation that was like on the like analog and digital side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's going to continue at that pace though, right? Like what's the generation after Gen Z? And will they be able to say that same thing?
I don't know. The only thing, like the only movie that I've seen that's shown a future of technology that I've kind of thought, you know, I can kind of see that being a thing is like Ready Player One. And I know that's a kids film and stuff like that, but the next thing I can think it being is just like pure VR, stuff like that, and more people living in that kind of world than in the real world. But yeah, no,
it's a prettier version of that's a prettier version of what we grew up with as well. Multi-user dungeons, as we were about to play text adventure, or you know, World of Warcraft, or any of those MMORPGs or whatever. It's just a prettier, more immersive version.
Mm-hmm. Usenet news groups. People still use those Paperboy.
Dude, alt.binaries, that's where you get your wares. Just saying.
Wares. That's another word that I use. I used that word again, and people were like, "What?" And I was like, "You know, you never been to a wares website?" It's like,
yeah,
nope.
Man, you gotta get yourself a no CD crack. You know,
they have the best music.
I mean, that's another thing like I didn't expect that to die. MP3s. I remember, you know, like Spotify come out. I'm like, who's gonna pay, you know, subscription fee for music? Come on, just like get on Napster. I was looking at old photos. I found a photo of me wearing a Napster shirt. I was like, all right. Anyway, it's just not fair because I want to do this and I want to savor it and enjoy it and be like, get off my lawn when I'm like 60, not when I'm in my 30s.
To be fair, I've been old and cranky for the last 10 years, so I can't say much.
I think we're in good company, to be honest. You know, I see Bugbot's here. What's up, Bugbot? You know, I see Eric T808. I see a bunch of folks that I know we're in good company in this regard. So let's continue. Let's play a game, shall we? Ooh, in fact, there we go. A little bigger so everybody can. No, that's actually not a good one. There we go. All right, so will you be able to escape? Probably not. North, south, east, west, interact, and quit. Upon awakening, you find yourself in a room you do not recognize. The room is dark, but you can see a door to the north of you. You know, you might find a cake. Oh, wait, you never know. You might find a cake. Totally a lie. Where should we go?
Yeah, the cake is a lie.
Absolutely.
Do we want to see if the cake is real?
I mean, we do. This is why we're here. Well, actually, I want to check out your Wi-Fi box of doom, but I figured also let's figure out if we can get out of Cribbit's cave. That's not what it's called, but I'm just going to call it. We're in Cribbit's cave, and we're going to go north.
I don't remember going into Cribbit's cave, but okay.
All right. The room is well lit. Oh, so we got out of the first room just by taking the obvious clue that there's a door to the north. The room is well lit with a small table. There's something on it. I investigate. There are exits to the north, east, and west. Oh gosh, so this is when you get out your grid paper and you start like, you know, creating the map. We're not doing that. Oh my god. Oh, it's Noob Lube. You apply it liberally.
Is there any other way to apply Noob Lube?
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. So Hak5 started as like part variety show, part comedy show, and we did sketches, and a lot of them were of a different era. And I don't know if I would do again today, but there's definitely one that is called Noob Lube. For all those that just absolutely suck at Team Fortress 2.
I was always a Counter-Strike kind of guy.
Oh yeah, mine were UT, Q3, and CS.
I liked Unreal Tournament. I think what was the name
Yeah.
of the map? Is it Opposing Worlds or Facing Worlds or something?
Facing Worlds, yeah. The one with the two castles, and you've got
and you run across the bridge.
Dude, so good. So good. All I want to do on that one is just like go to the top of the tower and snipe.
And snipe at spawn points. Yeah, absolutely. That was the best way to do it.
I mean, there's something so satisfying about spawn sniping that like it's whack-a-mole, you know?
Yeah. Because you'd get the beam of light when they spawned in, and you just look for the light, zoom in, bang.
There's also something so frustrating about being on the other end of that and like spawn dying immediately, right?
Oh, if it's happening to you, it's not fair. But if you're the one at the top of the tower doing it to everybody else, it's just
the best. It's the best. Well, especially when you get into this pattern loop, right? And you're just like, come on, give me a spawn point that's not in the sniper zone, right? And just racking up those kills, which I don't think mattered because it was really about getting the flag.
Yeah, because there were no unlocks. All the weapons just spawned in map. It was just generally just a fun little bit of game, wasn't it?
Such a good one. I mean, a timeless classic. And you also had, elements that I would hope still, have a place today. Headshot,
dominating,
unstoppable.
Yeah, I could sit and quote Unreal all day. Do you remember Angry German Kid then?
The what now?
The Angry German Kid meme. It was like way back in like the E-bombs.
No,
E-bombs world there.
Angry German Kid.
Yeah, there was this young kid who apparently was trying to log into Unreal Tournament, which towards the end of Unreal Tournament, logging in and joining a server was difficult. It'd kick you all the time. You'd have to try and reconnect, and eventually you'd get in the game and you'd get spawn sniped straight away. And apparently it's a clip of this kid trying to play Unreal back in the day, and he's getting so mad, and he just smashes his keyboard to bits. And then he finally gets in the game, and he must get spawn sniped, and he throws everything all over the place. It's it's like viral videos before viral videos were a thing.
Oh yeah, Star Wars Kid kind of era.
Star Wars Kid, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've all been there, but we've been there, and yeah, that's tough. Yeah, nowadays it's like everything is like wrapped in bubble wrap.
I don't know have you ever played Dark Souls? Because I'm not one for getting angry whilst playing video games, but Dark Souls, it takes me there. Oh yeah. So the thing with Dark Souls is the only reason you will fail is because you messed up. Even like the boss fights, they're just patterns, and every time you die, you learn a bit more of the pattern, and then it gets to the point where you're like, right, I know everything I need to do to beat this boss, and then you fail, and it's on nobody but you. And that's quite infuriating. But yeah, the rest every other game is pretty much like go over here, go get this.
Is it a game of negative reinforcement, or does it like build you up?
Well, I remember when Dark Souls 3 came out, loads of people started tweeting the developers saying, the game's too difficult, we can't get past the first boss, and the development team just tweeted back, "Get good." And that's all they ever said to anybody, because people are like, it has no difficulty setting, there's no way to make it easier, and they're just like, just get good. You need to get better. So it's a very difficult game, and it knows it's a difficult game. But that's half the fun of it.
But can you win it?
I've completed it. Almost cost me my relationship.
Oh wow!
Just because like you'd be so into it, and then like my girlfriend would come in, she'd be like, "Hi, how you doing?" And then I'd die, and it'd be just hours wasted. But that's the only time I've ever got angry at an inanimate object or a video game. Every other time, because one of the things that I like most about computers is
these things. They're real. They're really you.
Yeah. But the thing with computers is they only do what you tell them to do. So if you give it a command and you don't get the expected result, you kind of sit back and go, well, I did something wrong.
See, that's the frustrating part about it as compared to the natural world. Well, then the beautiful thing, because then it all makes sense. But it's frustrating because, your code always does just what you tell it to.
Yeah.
I have a conflicted relationship with these negative reinforcement games where I love Tetris. You like Tetris?
Okay. Yeah, my girlfriend is phenomenal at it. She's way better than I am.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those where it's just like you get in the zone and then start like after playing it for a while, everything is I'm like, rearranging my desk, like everything's got to fit together, right? And but you can't beat it. It's only staving off losing. And it's only a matter of time before you eventually lose. So all you're ever doing is like preventing the inevitable. It's frustrating. And then, whenever you make a mistake, it's like right there glaring at you, like, you can't clear that row because look at you, left the gap, like you really boxed yourself in, like, and some of them, some of these games, like even, remember Rock Band and Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Rock Band because it was like more collaborative, but Guitar Hero was definitely popular at the time. And the way that it would treat missing a note was like that Tetris negative reinforcement kind of thing, where when you strummed wrong, the whole screen would shake and it would go, and so you're like listening to this awesome song and like just wanting to jam along, and all you're hearing is like, and like Rock Band, you missed a note and it didn't do that. It just didn't play the note.
Didn't play the note, yeah. Because I've, to be fair, in the loft, in the attic, I've still got my drums for Rock Band. I've still got the USB drum kit for the Xbox 360. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you missed a note, it just didn't play the note.
Yeah, games that you can beat that don't beat you. Oh, so good. So
what do you think Cribbit's game is going to do then?
Cribbit's game is, well, now that we've gotten some new lube applied, I think that no matter what direction we go, we're going to be good. So we already went north, and now we can go north, east, or west. And I'm going to say, let's go west, young man. Let's manifest some destiny.
Okay.
Oops. Oh, ooh, I clicked somewhere. I clicked. That wasn't a good idea. Shouldn't have done that. See what I did? All right. Well, let's see. Is there a good way to? Yeah, you just reboot the damn thing. That's what we'll do. And I will know better than to click in the middle of something so that it starts painting elsewhere. You ever get yourself in a terminal where you accidentally cat a binary file and then suddenly it's like your whole terminal becomes ASCII and everything you type is like making the bell go?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst. I think I just did the equivalent of that. Yeah. Although I must say, the reset command, ever since I discovered, the two things that I wish I knew when I very first got into Linux would be the reset command and what is it? Tilde enter.
All right.
After an SSH session hangs. And so instead of like killing the process or making the zombie there, you can just hit tilde and then enter and it will disconnect the SSH session.
Oh, I didn't know that. You just taught me something.
Dude, it has saved me so many times. All right, here we go again. Shell.
I've just realized that's not from SAW, is it? That's from Wargames.
Yeah, this is Wargames.
Yeah, I thought it was SAW at first. I apologize to everybody. I let myself down.
Well, I wonder how many references there will be now. All right, so we're going north. Yep, and then we investigate, get the noob lube. All right, now we're going to go west. Manifest some destiny.
Clark's with us. You all right, Clark?
All right, high ceiling held up by 4 large pillars. Okay, well, I guess we can't go any further north. We could have gone north in the previous room to the east. So we can only go back there or go north. So the ceiling is a huge chandelier. It's so shiny. Well, it's not for you. Okay, we're not taking the chandelier. You're just looking at a text editor. Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
You have to turn your display brightness up to the max, and it still wouldn't be a bright and shiny. Yes, it's so bright you can't see the exits. Oh no!
That's descriptive writing at its finest.
This is. I feel like I need to increase my screen brightness now. Okay. Good thing I got this Dell monitor. All right, let's investigate this. Pockets for sunglasses. You don't have any. Oh, man. All right, I feel like we need to come back to this room with sunglasses.
Okay.
We entered from the north, so we should be able to go south. Yeah. All right.
I see that, yeah. East.
Back east, yeah.
I still feel like we should be drawing a map.
I feel like it too, but I got it in my head so far.
Okay.
Because like there's 2 ways north from this room. We've already gone west north. So we could just go north here and see if there's something in the adjacent room.
Okay.
Maybe some sunglasses. Or we could head east. Let's say north. And all right. You find yourself in a cosplay room. There's a cat sitting in front of a large fireplace. A cosplay room. Oh, a cozy room.
Cozy room. Small.
That's not a Freudian. Wow, dyslexia, Darren. Let's investigate this cozy room. Okay, you stroke the cat. It purrs generally.
Generally. Just a general purr.
Just general purr. All right, there's nothing in this room for us. Unless there's something else that I'm not getting. All right, back south. Then I guess east it is. You entered a hallway.
Table with something on it. So that's a new blurb, isn't it?
Yeah, let's investigate. What's in this room, this hallway? There's nothing in this room. All right, so I feel like we just went through the tutorial stage where you spawn, you go north, and then it bridges you where we now know where the objective is to get some sunglasses to get through that room with the chandelier.
Do you want me to look in the? Shall I cheat? Shall I look in the code? Just Control F.
No, don't check the payload file.
Okay. I will.
It'd be no fun if we just. Watch there be like a key, like W for win, and this whole time just like playing by the rules. All right, so now I feel like we're in actually the crux of the game, which is east of the main room, which is north of spawn.
Okay.
So let's keep tabs on this one. I'm like recentering my head. Okay, so north, south, east, or west. Obviously not west. That's back to the main. So north to south. Where are we going?
South.
South it is. All right, this must be the boiler room. Pipes everywhere. Pipes.
All the things.
Pipe all the things. All right. Well, we now know where the boiler room is. Okay. Let's go back north twice. I like the like moment to register because you there's like a sleep half-second thing.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's like
we found the bar.
It's like it's thinking about your response and drawing something up accordingly.
This is not why we built this product. We built the key Croc to be a keystroke injection tool / key logger that can, like find whatever you want loot wise with regular expressions like phone numbers and social security numbers and stuff. not necessarily building text adventures, but man. All right. You drink all the booze, but instead of hacking all the things, you do a barrel roll. Oh, man. Do you know there's a Easter egg command in most all Hak5 gear called do a barrel roll?
Yes, I'm aware of that. I've Googled some of the things. Is there a moo? Is there a moo Easter egg somewhere as well?
If there is a moo Easter egg, it would have been planted by Seb and he wouldn't have told me.
Okay.
Which is amazing and terrifying at the same time. Because it really makes you want. I know that Foxtrot has a couple of Easter eggs in the pineapple. Yeah. And I know that Kirby is in all pineapples since like the Mark V.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool one. But yeah, run do a barrel roll, all caps underscores, and enjoy the dim blinking lights. Okay, so north and south. Which way? How did we get here? We went to the north. Oh, well, now I'm kind of lost.
You see, this is why we should have drawn a map.
Yeah, well, oh gosh, all right. It's a bit late to draw a map, isn't it?
No.
We
can just scroll up.
We're just east of the main room, which only has a north or a south, and we've gone both to the north and to the south. And one's a bar, and the other is just a boiler room.
Boiler room. Okay.
Yeah. So we're lost. There's nowhere else to go.
What about
I
if we go
say-
back to the bright room and just pick a direction?
What if we just try to go east, even though we can't? You were going to go that way, then you then you took a wall to the face. Nice. All right. Can we go west? Seriously. Through the wall? Sorry, no. Oh man. Okay. I guess we go back south. Wait, did we try north? Oh.
Oh, okay. No, that's new.
Oh. You're in that place where I put that thing that time. Nice.
In Cribbit's cave.
Yeah, exactly. Investigate. You find a floppy disk.
What's one of those?
Yes. Dude, we got a floppy.
Is that like a 3D printed save icon?
I also noticed the variables at the top. I started to read, and it's got noob, cow, abs, free, pineapple, fox, damage, and fight.
Okay.
I like that fox equals 1. I wonder if it's a foxtrot. I lost the plot where we are. I really messed up. I went too far north.
So, well, no, because we can go south and east now. We've not been in this room before. So anywhere you go, where did we go? We went north. So east is a new direction. Yeah.
So we went north twice from the fork that was east of spawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I say we can. So now we can go north and east. Where do you see that?
No, we went north, so we can go east, or we can go back down the way we came, south.
Oh, let's see what's east. There's something moving around in here. Uh-oh. Investigate. It's a glider. It likes to moobix. I like to moobix. I like to moobix. You like to
moobix. Again, showing our edge there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we can go. Well, west would be going back where we came from. South is kind of going back where we came from, but in an adjacent track.
So next to the boiler room.
Yeah. I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed. Brain the size of a planet, and all you've got me doing is quacking out new room descriptions. Who ever heard of a croc quacking? Oh, well, what else were we gonna call it? The key quacker? No, no,
it could be snap.
Snap.
You could snap some text. Yeah, that's what crocs do, don't they?
The croc snapper. I mean, that's honestly one of the hardest parts about all the Hak5 gear is coming up with the ridiculous name.
The names, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Croc? Well, let's investigate. Maybe there's something in here. I could calculate your chances of survival, but you wouldn't like it. Thought it was I wouldn't like the odds. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting my Star Wars mixed up. Okay, so how did we get here? We went south, and there are exits south and west, but west would be going back where we came from, so we continue south. So now we'll be we'll be just past the fork where we were. So now we'll be next to the boiler room. There is something standing in the corner. They look upset. All right, who are they? Investigate.
Can you imagine if this was used nefariously? Like if this was an actual attack and you try and log into your workstation and this pops up and the only way your data doesn't get cryptoed is if you manage to make it out of the maze.
Oh my God, that would be so good. That would be so good. You like log in and you like fires up Notepad. It is like, shall we play a game? You know, like encrypting your heart, like deleting random files. And then like, as you get things wrong, it's
just
like
more data disappears off an SMB share. You're like
and there's like rolling the dice, little rolling dice ASCII animation, and then like deleting file, and then just like the name of the file that is just deleted.
I can just imagine everybody in the office going, "I told you needed to go north,"
Oh my
and
God.
just all the data
You've got,
disappearing.
the whole office huddled around, like, we should just call IT. No, we'll make it through the maze. This is something right out of like the IT crowd. This should have been a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. They say their name is Toby, and they're suffering from borked bits. Wow, Cribbit must have seen every episode of early Hak5.
That already had some insider knowledge, maybe. Maybe somebody was helping him out with it.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, that's from we did a Geeky Bar. Sorry, we called it Geeky Bar. It was a Tiki Bar TV parody in like the second season, I want to say, and it's bad, but it's too much fun. Did you ever see Tiki Bar?
No. So I've been a long-term fan. I think did you guys used to be with Revision 3?
Yeah.
Yes. So I remember back then.
Still are.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So I remember some of the stuff from back then. But it's really weird because I've always dabbled with stuff like this since I was a kid. But it's only really since you did because like I got the land turtle at launch because I saw the Quick Creds video, which was phenomenal. Absolutely loved that thing. Then I got the Bash Bunny as soon as that launched. And then I kind of just stagnated for a while because I've got this really bad habit of getting good at things. Not great, just good. And then moving on to something else. But when you did the Shark, Jack, and Nano combo, and I got a newsletter about it, and I just thought, do you know what? So I'm going to buy it. I've always wanted a Wi-Fi pineapple. I spent many years trying to make something like one, and then slowly realizing that you can't really. You're just best off buying one. And
I mean, a lot of people will say that because on the face of it, you're like, oh, that's so simple, until you realize like all of the edge cases that we have like figured out, all the ways that you can't break it.
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the amount of times that I was taking
10% that takes 90% of the time.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, I was like, I can do this with a Raspberry Pi and some Ath9 adapters and some stuff like that, but it's not the same thing. So I bought the Nano, and probably much to Foxtrot's dismay, I joined the Discord server, and I've been a pain in the ass ever since, really.
Nice. Oh, do you razz him?
Say again?
Are you razzing Foxtrot as like is that a career path of yours?
Yes. Giving him crap is one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah, like I mean, like more people should give Foxtrot crap. I just feel like that goes without saying, you know. We should add it to the message of the day.
Just join in and give Foxtrot some crap?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's actually a payload that needs to happen.
To be fair, I've submitted some payloads, and I think they gave Foxtrot enough crap when I did that, to be honest.
Oh no, I was actually just looking at them. In fact, we had new host hasn't debuted yet, but we've had him on the show or on the stream here. Blue Cosmo was actually just reviewing your Windows Connect payload for the Bash Bunny. And
yes.
Yeah, as we're trying to figure out how we're building out the infrastructure for the Payload Hero thing, because I'm the worst where I'm just like, yeah, and then I launch a thing and I'm like, oh shit, I should have built like, I don't know, like a system to support this. So anyway, I'm like, oh God, I really need to, anyway, that's getting solved this week. And yeah, it was checking out your payload, your payload. And I was looking at your other PR actually for the printer nightmare. And I mean, you know, it's great. It's great because it works. And then somebody else can like, this is the thing I love about the community is you put out a payload and then somebody was like, yeah, cool, but I can like shave 3 seconds off of it if I do X.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we moved to GitHub instead of forums because that's just it can just be a mess when it comes to payloads. It's great because like the barrier to entry is like so low.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen any some PRs for some updates to that to make it more robust or whatever. But at the same time, it's also kind of like an exploit, you know, in passing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Microsoft, to be honest, it's really weird because we've got systems. So I work for a managed service provider. We kind of look after other companies' IT. If they need an IT department but don't want the overhead, they employ us. So it was funny that the week that I released that payload, I had spent trying to circumvent and protect systems against Print Nightmare. And then at the weekend, you did the tweet saying first person to, make a payload for it. And I was like, well, I've kind of been playing about with it all week to protect systems. I might as well just flip that card over and write something that exploits systems. So I already had the PowerShell code that does the exploit because I was using it for testing the stuff that we were doing to protect systems was working. So I thought, well, I've already got the meat of it. I just need to find a way to get it to do something creative. But there were loads of people on Twitter and on the YouTube, on the video comments that were like, oh, damn, you beat me to it. And I was like, no, do it better. Don't just stop because somebody's done it. Go one step further and do it better.
I used to have that problem when I very first started Hak5. I was like, oh, well, we can't cover that topic. There's already another video on the internet that covers it. Because that's how in a video was. There were so few out there that it's like, oh, well, you're just ripping off their thing. Now it's just like there's more than you could ever possibly imagine. And you're right. It's like it's only going to get better when you have more people like iterating and coming up with their own techniques for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what you were saying about being an MSP and like securing those networks and stuff, I find that like of all the skills that you can have to be a good hacker, starting by being a good systems administrator is probably like fundamental.
It's certainly a good skill set to have because you're used to various systems as well. So we have a saying in our job, which is MSP guys make great sysadmins. Sysadmins don't make great MSP guys. Because sysadmins have always dealt with like one infrastructure and they've got that tunnel vision of their infrastructure. Whereas we've got over 100 clients and over 100 different infrastructures, different setups per site. You're never going to remember it all. You've got to kind of learn how to figure stuff out as you go. So it makes going through things like Hack the Box and Try Hack Me and stuff like that a little bit more kind of normal to you every day because you're used to trying to figure stuff out on the fly. So yeah, it's certainly an industry that I enjoy working in.
Yeah, likewise. That's one of the most rewarding things about IT. I wouldn't say I love my job now, but I did 10 years as a sysadmin, and I loved how every day it was a new, different problem, and how the variety of systems and stuff that you nowhere near the amount as an MSP, obviously. But I remember the first time I'd have to like manage like an Apache server and I didn't know jack about Linux. And it's like, oh, cool. This is an opportunity to learn. Yeah. So too much fun.
Well, a lot of our guys, so I've kind of moved away from, I used to do help desk many years ago. And now I'm a solutions architect. So I design infrastructures and stuff. But I also support.
You know exactly what I'm talking about systems. I was like, oh no, I did a thing. It's like I caught a fish. That's not a thing. That's like and then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't architect a system to support this, a system that is like sustainable and can, run for the long term. And it's like, damn it, machines are like building a machine and a system is way more rewarding than just doing a cool thing one-off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get a lot of varied requirements because one of the things is, as a solutions architect, is our customers come to us and say, hey, I want to do this. And I go, that doesn't exist. And then we kind of have to find a way to make it exist or to make it work or to do what they need it to do.
If only we could glue this thing to that thing, but where is the glue?
But one of the things I say to our guys in the help desk a lot, because they always get really frustrated when it's a difficult problem or it's something that they've never seen before. I always say, who wants to reset passwords all day, every day?
Right.
I don't.
No.
I certainly wouldn't still be working in this industry if that's all it was. If it was just password resets, I would have gotten bored years ago.
Yeah.
So variety is the spice of life.
Variety is the spice of life. It'll actually keep you younger too. Like
it's not working.
Well, okay,
not for me.
Sorry, it'll keep you. Maybe I shouldn't say younger because chronologically nothing will. But it'll keep you stronger. It'll keep you healthier in that your body gets used to routine, and when it encounters the same stuff over and over, it starts taking shortcuts because of the familiar. And it's like, oh, cool, I know how to win this game, so I don't have to try as hard. And so when it comes to like generating a new cell, it's like copy pasta, and it's not necessarily the best cell, but it's like fine because we're not really doing anything new. But as soon as you start like getting those, like this is why I have van life, because those new experiences just doesn't matter really what it is, as long as it's something new, like going into a cave or whatever. Your body is like thrown at these new experiences where it's like, oh my God, I don't know how to process this because I don't know what's around the next corner. It's not familiar, and therefore, I forget why, but it just generates better cells, or so says some woo-woo I've read.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of the times where we'll sell a project to a customer and I'll be like, I have no idea how to do that. But you'd be damn sure I'll find out and we'll do it and we'll deliver it. But you're right. It's better than doing the same thing over and just cookie cutter. Oh yeah, we've done this before. Let's do that again. Yeah, we've done this before.
Well, I mean, that's literally how the Ducky came to be. I was so tired of typing net sh use, or what was it, net use / whatever it was,
Yeah.
Like I was just so tired of like fixing net shares and printers and stuff that I eventually was just like, I'd get the call and I'd be like, oh, which printer? The one in the hallway? Go to the supply closet, grab the blue Ducky, plug it into your computer, put it back when you found it. Yeah, cool. All right, bye. Yeah. And then eventually they all figured out like, oh, if the hallway printer fails, you plug in the blue Ducky, and if the SharePoint fails, you plug in the yellow Ducky. And my phone stopped ringing, and guess what? I lost that job.
You automated yourself out of a job.
I replaced myself with a small shell script that quacks.
Was that with the old SanDisk cruisers with the auto run CD-ROM thing on them?
It started with that. It started with the USB Switchblade, and then that evolved into, because that was just taking advantage of a single exploit, which is never as much fun as taking advantage of a inherent vulnerability that's linked to the human computer trust model. And it got patched by Microsoft, so it would no longer run your auto run to INF if it's off of a CDFS as opposed to off of a UMS or USB mass storage. And while I could still automate the same thing by creating a batch file and an auto run to INF on the root of a USB flash drive and then clicking on the like run the script thing, that required clicking, and I despise the mouse so much, because my very first computer didn't have a mouse.
Same. Mine had a trackball on the keyboard.
Oh, okay. Well, mine didn't have. It was like IBM
no mouse at all.
XT 512K of RAM, green and black Hercules graphics, monochrome monitor, 5 1/4 floppy disk, and I upgraded to a 20 megabyte hard drive. So great. Yeah.
Balling back in those days. I remember having to install. I remember having to remove Monkey Island 1 so I could install Monkey Island 2.
Oh, well, not enough store. I mean, you should have. Maybe you should have disk doubled.
All right.
Yeah, those disk doublers back in the day. Yeah. So I just I ended up having to teach myself QBasic.
Okay.
Because if you wanted to play a game, you had to program it yourself. All you had was DOS 3.3. So, and that's actually the reason why Ducky script is the way it is, in all caps, because cruise control for cool, and that's how BASIC was my first language. So I'm like, since I had to endure it, so do you.
So yeah. Well, you could shorthand. Is BASIC the one where you could shorthand as well?
You could actually.
Instead of typing the full word, you could type like the first few letters, and it would figure out what you wanted from there.
You know what? It might, and I wouldn't be surprised if to this day there's still a lot of BASIC I don't know, because I taught myself BASIC by literally just reading other BASIC like BAS files, right? I didn't have, like, I had a book and that was and some example files, and that's about it. But yeah, no, I only remember a few aliases, like print. There was an alias ?
All right, okay.
I think there was an alias for input. And actually, that's literally all this game right here. This is just print and input. So we are at an input prompt where we are here with Toby who's suffering from some borked bits.
Some
I
balked
wonder what
bits.
happens if you investigate again.
You want to investigate the balked bits? Oh, I think I've lost audio.
Hey, so as it turns out, if you if you keystroke inject into your browser that's running your live stream, you can accidentally
You can mute your mic.
Yeah, so it must have been when it typed the M key in name.
Right.
All right, so they don't do anything else. Gosh, we've come to the end of this string. I think we have to go north twice, west once, and then south twice. Right? Yeah, north. North.
I'm trusting you on this. I use Waze everywhere I go. So.
West. Now we can go south twice.
Okay.
Yeah, south. South. And now we're back to the main hallway. Yeah, we're back to the hallway.
So do you think we're just going to have to go back to the shiny room and look around?
I think either that or maybe we missed something when we went south to the boiler room.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't go. Did we go east from the boiler room? I guess not. East.
I think so.
Not another hallway. It's like I'm running out of ideas for room descriptions. The exits. Okay. All right. So we went south from the main hallway and then east. I know where we are. And now we can go south or west.
South.
Well, yeah, it would be south.
Yeah.
The room you have entered is covered in some sort of drape. Oh, hang on. Actually, we want to go back north and investigate because we should investigate.
Oh, we didn't look around in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to find some sunglasses.
This is where Cribbit's watching, thinking, "I knew I should have put some sunglasses in there."
I know. No, all right. Okay, so there's nothing in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Not another hallway. Where did we go again? South.
Yeah, south.
Yeah. The room you have entered is covered in some sort of drape. Let's investigate that drape. There is nothing to do in this room. Well, what? All right, so there's a room with a drape. Huh?
Why the drape then if we can't interact with it?
Yeah, maybe later, like Toby is like, if only I had some drape to cover my borked bits. And then we'll be like, oh, God, where the hell was that room? All right. Man. Let's see. Well, we came from the north, so we can either continue going south, deeper, darker into here, or west. Say we continue south. This room is full of flamingos. What kind of, are we in a house? That's just room after room? All right, let's get, maybe the flamingos have sunglasses. All right, so strange. This flamingo is made of plastic with a label on it. Property of Paul. Aw, Paul, the camera guy. Aw, I'm just talking to Paul the other day. Well, exits are to the north. So we've come to a dead end.
Okay, so we need to go north and then what, west?
North. Yeah, it was west. Yeah, which will bring us to below the spawn room.
I don't even know if you're lying or not there. I'm just gonna have to take your word for it.
Well, okay, so we're now southeast of the spawn room, but if we can continue going west, then we'll be. There must be some sort of glitch. You're back in the room you started in. I told you we were by the spawn.
Okay.
The room is still dark, but you can see the door to the north of you. But hey, at least you recognize the room. Oh man.
But how do we get back in the room?
So we can't go back east. There's a curtain, but no window behind it. How odd. Damn it. So we're back to the beginning.
Back in the start room.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm just confused.
Well, where could we have gone? Because we already went.
We've got to go back into the room with the bright chandelier, and just try a direction.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree with Eric. Although we've exhausted all paths apart from the bright
True.
chandelier room now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. All right. Well lit, small table, something on it.
Noob loob.
Investigate. We already got that though.
I think so, yeah.
You
Oh,
have used the whole tube. Oh, it's the noob
that's
loop.
clever. So that's clever that it knows that we've already used that.
It knows because look at the variables. Noob equals 0.
Yeah, yeah. So it's set
So
noob to 1.
it's set noob to 1, and yeah, those are now system variables. I kind of want to just like, you know what we could do? We could just SSH into the key croc and then set
Change the variable.
change the variable for the sunglasses. All right. Well, I remember it being to the west and then north.
Yeah.
Room has a high ceiling, large pillars. Investigate. Nothing in here. Nothing in here apart from something on the west wall.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Did we change another variable somewhere?
There is an advert telling you the benefits of the freeze pop diet. Oh my God. Cribbin has seen like all of season 1, 2, and 3. Terrible, terrible, terrible sketch involving a diet, a fictitious diet in which you can eat anything you want as long as it's a freeze pop.
So he's going really hard with the references then.
Very, and it's fantastic. Investigate. There's nothing in this room apart from something on the west wall. Well, we've already continued west. Wow, we're just going to continue going west unless we're in a. Okay, we're in the same. All right, so we got to go north from here. We're not getting any further. You're in a large room, hanging from the ceiling with a huge chandelier. It's so shiny. Well, it's not for you. Okay, this is the same one. But investigate. We got to have some sunglasses. You search your pockets for sunglasses. You don't have any.
So can we go in any direction?
This is where we haven't tried because it didn't tell us north, south, east, west. So where are we going?
Which way did we come in? We came in north. We could try north. See if we can go straight on.
Straight on. Why? That's the second biggest network monkey I've ever seen. The exit starts to the south, obviously going back east and west. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, we did the thing where because it didn't tell us where we could go, we just didn't try. And now we have a network monkey reference because network monkey. In fact, hang on, where is he? Oh, he's in the van. Oh man, I bring the network monkey with me everywhere. I keep bourbon in him now. But that was a fun one. It was a stuffed monkey that we sewed RJ45 Ethernet into his arms. And then he had an antenna in his tail, and inside was a sock kind of similar to the original pineapple. And it was a very convoluted setup using I can't remember if it was SSH or VPN, but it would allow you to quote monkey in the middle of the packets. So imagine a packet squirrel, but with Wi-Fi that would retransmit what's going over the wire live. So it's a LAN tap. It's a Wi-Fi LAN tap, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And I probably made about a dozen of these, literally sewing them together in the living room until finally I'm like, okay, enough is enough. It's not worth. Like, this was a really fun gag. I thought it would be like, oh, the follow-up to the pineapple is the network monkey. And it was a lot of fun. But there's like a dozen of these out there. And if you have one of them, you have a handmade collector's item.
Fair enough. So is that like the precursor to the plunderbug then? Because that's... Is that what the plunderbug does? It's in line and you can send it to your phone?
Yeah. I mean, it's the plunderbug is a LAN tap that's got a built-in USB Ethernet adapter. That's pretty much it. But it is the precursor to that and the packet squirrel.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day we'll do a network monkey Mark II. But the thing of it was, at the time, it was 10100 and it was rebroadcasting the network traffic over 802.11g because that was the best that was available. And that was, theoretically 54 megabits a second. So there's no way it would have been able to handle full throughput. Mm-hmm. So it was mostly a proof of concept that just became like a fun project that a dozen people got in on, like in very, very, very early days, Hak5.
So some people are sat at home with a collector's item.
I don't even know if they know they are. I really wonder. Mm. Okay, well, I feel like we should just continue going north. No, we can't. All right, east or west. Here we go. What are you feeling?
East.
East it is. Heading back to that boiler room. Enter the hallway and find it packed full of Fickerdoodles. I don't know what Fickerdoodles are.
Me neither.
Okay, let's investigate. You look at the use by date, 2009. You put them back down. Okay, sounds about right. South or west? Well, west would be back. South would be kind of more towards the
Where we
original
started.
hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try south. You find yourself in a cozy room. Oh man. Okay,
We're back
hang
in
on.
this room. Okay.
We're in this room. Yep. So northwest west. Yeah. Okay. So we go north. Yep. Configure room. West. Network monkey room.
Yeah. So we can go west.
And we got to the network monkey room by going north. So we don't want to go south. We want to go west again.
Yeah.
Room 101. Okay, so we can go south and east. Well, obviously we're not going east, but we'll go south from here after we investigate that there's nothing. Okay, south. I thought it was going to be room 352, which is the Mubix room.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
These I'm not going to lie. Most of these references are going way over my head.
I mean, some of them are very esoteric, like extremely. There's a long-haired man sitting at a table. Oh, well, let's talk to the long-haired man. Oh, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this, a small plush cow. Dude, we have the cow. We have the cow. The cow is alive. Seb, come and get me as soon as we allow Australians into this country. Or Darren can go to Australia. Actually, I'd much rather go to Australia, TBH. I think their COVID rates are like way better.
Yeah, I think Australia's doing surprisingly well, I think.
Yeah, they are. Although I am going here very soon in the next couple of weeks to somewhere with also very low rates. So I'm setting sail in the Caribbean.
Nice.
Shortly. Yeah. I haven't told anyone, so that's news to everyone now.
You heard it first, guys.
Yeah, well, I literally just got my my sailing certificate, so I've passed the tests, and I have a stamp in my official book, and so now I can technically sail.
Nice.
Technically speaking, I know how to hoist a halyard and shoot in a jib. So other boat things.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Eric T. Sailing is hard. Sailing poorly is easy.
Doing anything poorly is easy.
Oh my God, I can accidentally jive until you're blue in the face. So.
So did you have to learn all sorts of like knots and stuff for tying the boat up?
Oh yeah, there's literally rope on my desk for this exact reason. I can tie all sorts of esoteric knots now, and they've all got very good reason, like reef knots and cleat hitches and bowlines or bowlines. Everything is pronounced wrong too. It's great.
Okay.
It's like something is either windward or leeward, but it's not, and it's spelled leeward, but it's leeward because, yeah.
I imagine people joining the stream now are like, knots, boats, sailing. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Hak5, where we talk about sailing and play text adventures, and eventually we'll get to Wi-Fi hacks in a box of doom. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't even add you. We're like an hour and 20 minutes in. Do you have time?
Yeah, I've got nothing but time.
All right, cool. Then I say we continue south.
Yeah, well, we got the cow.
We got the cow. We don't want to go back north. Let's go south. Maybe if we give the cow to Toby, he'll be doing well.
Is there a command for give?
Oh, well, maybe investigate would be give.
Investigate whilst you've got it in your
inventory. Basically, like we've got a D-pad and a B button, and we're Zelda, or sorry, we're not Zelda, we're Link, and we can run around and talk to everybody and pick up their pots and their chickens, and that's about it. Okay, you enter what looks like a living room. That sofa looks comfy. Well, let's investigate that sofa. You sit on the sofa. There's something next to you. It's a fail bus ticket. Fail bus going nowhere at the speed of fail. I love that Cribbit just went through and found every reference to every bad sketch we did in 2005 through 2009. Love it.
I imagine he's just gone through and watched them all, and he's been like, I'm doing critical research for a new payload that I'm releasing. And he's probably going to do, once he's released this, there'll be a new GitHub repository out that's got all his findings, all his testing, and just really well documented layout of this exploit that he's come up with.
Absolutely. I feel like there should be a CVE for this payload.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll launch one after this. I'll report it.
Okay. Somebody call CERT because they need to know about this. Oh, man. Well, let's see. I guess we just continue south.
No reason why not.
It's a kitchen. Maybe there's something to eat. Let's investigate. You have a nice bowl of Hak5 flakes. Wow, a free copy of Nmap. It'll make you look cool. Oh my gosh. Love it. This is just meme-orific. All right, so we don't want to go north. Looks like we're going east. Let's hope we can back out of this because I've lost the plot. Lots of arcade machines. What is this? 1984? Another reference to an old Hak5. Investigate. Come on, sunglasses. You play on the machines for a bit, then you notice a leaflet. Fed up with playing by yourself? Rent a Player 2 with player2rentals.com. Oh my God, I let that domain lapse, I'm sure. I don't even remember half these jokes. Like I feel like what this payload is really missing is the option to like hit a button to like, launch meme and then like have it like inject keystrokes to open your browser and go to like the YouTube video of that gag Player2 Rentals, because
it should be like Starship Troopers, and it should be like, would you like to know more? And then you've just got an option to be like, yes, and then it just shows you some more stuff.
I don't mind that kind of stuff. Like, okay, so have you played Doom 3?
No, I have not.
Have you played any of these kind of or Interstellar, or not Interstellar? What is it called? The one where you're like Dead Space.
I've played a bit of Dead Space, not too much, but yeah, I've played a bit of it. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of games like this where you're gathering clues, and there's like, you're like, oh, you find a tablet on the table, and it's like you've got the option to just throw it in your inventory, or you can like sit there and read it and listen to like the audio journals of the scientists and like read all of the findings, and like you go up to the whiteboard and there's all this stuff, or you can just like blast monsters and go through hallways. And there's like all of this texture that's thrown in, and you can tell that they spent a lot of time developing these characters and these relationships you can have with them, or again, you can blast zombies. Do you read the tablets?
I tend to do, because I play a lot of like Fallout games, and there's a lot of stuff like that in the Fallout games. So there's notes, there's holotapes, there's all sorts of stuff that you can listen to, and it just helps build immersion around what you're actually doing. If you're into the Dead Space stuff, there is a series on YouTube called War Stories, which I can't remember the name of the company that does them, but basically they go around and they speak to video game developers, and they ask them to tell them about one major problem, how they overcame it, and what they learned from doing that. And they ask all these different game development companies that. And the one from the guy who did Dead Space is actually really good. Because there's a scene in Dead Space where this tentacle arm grabs you by the leg and pulls you through a tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that almost completely ruined the entire game, because they didn't appreciate how hard it would be to actually code that into the game. And the guy was like, no, I've decided I want this in the game, so we're going to have to figure out how to do it. And the way they solved it was breaking it down into really small chunks. So what's the first thing we need to do? We need the tentacle to be able to find the player in the room. Okay, what do we need to do after that? Well, it needs to be able to grab them. And they solved it in lots of small chunks. So I found watching those pretty cool. But yeah, there's one on Dead Space that you should definitely check out.
Nice. Yeah, rather than like, force the player into a box where it's basically a cutscene.
Yeah, which
when
he
you
did. He
get
didn't want. He didn't want that at all because he knew that as soon as a player ran into the room, they could sneak into the room. They could, they could go in and go to the wall and try and the tentacle had to be able to find them because he didn't want to turn it into like a railway type shooter.
Yeah, see, hearing you describe that makes me really I haven't done some real good gaming in quite a while. I've just been like, you know, work is crazy, and I just find myself casual gaming with like a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But man, those FPS, I fell in love with not just deathmatch gaming. Like, I learned networking because we got to wire up computers to play LAN party games, right?
Internet
Quake,
connection sharing back in the day.
yeah. Quake 3 and an Unreal Tournament, all of that stuff. I mean, hell, I think we even played some that required IPX, SPX. Which one was that? StarCraft. And
yeah,
crazy. Wrong network protocol. Anyway, but then Half-Life came about, and suddenly, like a single player experience could be as enjoyable as a multiplayer experience of like insta-giving your friends. While half gravity bouncing around jump pads in Quake 3, and like I remember, like I have a relationship with Barney Calhoun, and you probably do too. Do you remember Barney? He was the security guard at the
at the beginning.
at the Black Mesa Research Facility.
Yes, yeah. When you got off the train at the beginning, is that the guy?
Yeah, and then all the scientists and everything else, and like I was, like many of us, I was Gordon Freeman, and that was real. I mean, it's like hella low poly and, kind of cheesy and built on a Quake 1 engine and yada, yada, yada. And obviously like way better with the source engine with Half-Life 2 and whatnot. But that didn't matter. It wasn't about the polygons or the, terrible physics. It was about or actually for the time, great physics. It was about, they didn't heavy hand it to you. But like the story unfolded, and I loved that. I feel like, you really do develop a relationship with those characters and get immersed in those stories. So I'm definitely a pick up the tablet kind of person.
Yeah. It's the best way to be because you experience more of the actual story that way. I mean, it's really weird because I like to clock games really fast. Mm-hmm. So like when Fable 3 came out, I think I clocked it in like 8 hours or just under 9 hours. Whoa. And a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't experience the full game. And it's like, yeah, but now that I've beaten everything, I can go back and I can play it again and I can enjoy it a little bit slower. I can do all the side quests and stuff like that.
I'm the other way around. I prefer to do it slow and then speed run it.
Right.
Yeah. Because then I also know what I can skip. Like I can do E1M1 in like 15 seconds. I mean, but then again, I've been doing that since, I was like 12. Yeah. Huge Doom fan. Although really just Doom 1 and 2. Like all of the Dooms since like Doom 3 was kind of like, eh. Like I appreciated that Doom 3 was really trying to like, take a card from Half-Life and make it that kind of like story driven, immersive thing. But they also were like, you didn't need to at all. So because there was no need to read the scientist notes and listen to their audio recordings and uncover all this stuff, like you could pretty much just blast your way through.
Yeah, you could still just run and gun. Yeah.
Well, we should continue running east because we're on a roll here, and I don't see any indication of where we can and can't go. But we got here by going east, so let's continue trying to go east.
Okay, that's a wall.
All right, wall. Okay, well, we don't want to go west. Try south. It's room, okay? You don't like the description, make a pull request.
That's fair.
Oh my god. Okay, somebody now, as soon as we commit, we're merging this. We're committing this payload literally on this stream because it's so good. And somebody needs to send a PR to fix this room and make it even better.
To fix the description.
Okay. Yeah. But like, make sure we keep the make a pull request gag because I want to see like how many people can contribute to this. All right, let's investigate pull request room. There's nothing. Okay. Well, we got here by going south, so let's continue south. All right, you take a look at the decor. It's pretty nice. Hang on, do you think this might be procedurally generated as far as like where we can go? Or do you think he has a map?
No, I think he's probably mapped it all out.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, how long's the payload?
I mean, it's a pretty damn good long payload. Hang on. Room 1, room 2. All these are functions. Room 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I think he's mapped
7,
them out.
9. Oh my God. 14. I don't want to skip ahead. Okay, 18. All right, I'm scrolling out. I don't want to see. There's at least 18 rooms. We've definitely been in a dozen rooms by now. Look at the decor. It's pretty nice. Investigate. There's nothing in this room. I mean, south again? All right, there's a wall. Okay. West. There's a large machine with a button on it.
Got to press it.
Yeah, I got to press that button. The machine whirs and gurgles. There's a cup that pops out. It's a slushy, very refreshing. Yay, slushy gone. All right. Well, continue west. I mean, I figure if you pick a direction, you should just go to it until you hit a wall.
Yeah.
Somehow you think walls don't apply to you. All right. South. Wait, what? There's someone sitting in a Miata. I wonder how they got it to fit in such a small room. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be Corbin, but it's not a Miata.
It's going to be Corbin.
It's a Mazda MX-5.
Oh, is it for real? Yeah, I should know this.
Yeah, so you guys call it a Miata. We call it a Mazda MX-5.
Oh, I mean, it's a pretty sweet Miata. Tap on the window. They show you their multipass. It is definitely Corbin. Nice.
See, I got that reference because I talked to Corbin about his car on the Discord.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Somehow you think walls don't apply to you. Okay. Well, we're just going to continue trying to go southwest. I tell you a joke about 20-foot wall, but you'd never get over it. Okay. All right. So
we go up east?
East, because we got here going south.
This is not a room nor a pipe. So where? Did we get into a room?
I don't know. Are we in a room now? We can go southeast or west.
So we went east to get in here.
So we don't want to go west. We want to continue east.
Yeah.
There's a fox.
Okay.
With a dapper mustache wearing sunglasses. Ooh, he's got sunglasses. Steal them.
This is Foxtrot.
Holding some sort of fruit. It's Foxtrot. I swear it's Foxtrot.
It's a pineapple.
The fruit isn't a pie. Wait.
It's a pineapple with
a
small button.
With a small button. You push the button for 4 seconds. Did anything happen? No. You have to hold the button down while plugging it in.
That's probably the bane of Foxtrot's life is people who want to do the wireless setup on the Mark 7, but don't press the button for the right amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I swear we just need maybe in the web interface, we should have it talk to you as you're pressing the button. You know, like you start to hold the button, it'll go 4, 3,
just count down.
2 Mississippi. Well, you guys don't say Mississippi.
We can do if we could. I do sometimes.
In primary school, they taught you Mississippi?
No, I think we just learned it from American TV.
Oh, okay. What did they teach you to as between your number word?
I think, and I'm going really far back in the archive of my brain, I think it was hippopotamus. I think it was 1 hippopotamus, 2 hippopotamus. I think.
I mean, they're really, you guys don't have many hippopotamus on that island.
No, we don't have many Mississippis either.
That's true. We stole all of our stuff from you guys. I grew up in Williamsburg next to Norfolk and Hampton and Newport
a lot of the
News.
Town names. Yeah.
All of them, all of them.
I actually got schooled by an American at a barbecue a couple of weeks ago because I made a joke. She said, "Oh, we were watching football," and I said, "Do you mean real football or hand egg?" Because I couldn't resist.
Hand egg.
And she said, "Actually, soccer is an English term." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "We call it football." And she said, "No, originally we used to have rugby football and soccer football.
Oh my god!
And in our local dialect, rugby just became rugby and soccer football just became football. So it's actually apparently our phrase, not the Americans.
No joke.
Yeah. So she schooled me. She schooled me pretty bad.
Wow,
about that.
I had no idea. All right,
Me
something else we can blame you guys for. That's fantastic. Or not take ownership of.
Yeah, because we and the thing we also got into the subject of the fact that you guys drop a lot of letters from English words like color. You drop the U, stuff like that.
It's just more efficient, like you can get a point across without having an extra letter. It's like dropping the C from hack. Like that's just efficiency right there.
Well, apparently it comes from like the telegraph days because you used to pay by the character.
Oh my god!
It was cheaper to drop certain characters from certain words. That's what she told me. I've not fact checked these. Please go fact check it yourselves.
I don't care if it's true or not. That just sounds so good. I love it. I love the idea that like technology would like change language to the point where like what an influence technology has on like the modern vocabulary. I would go on, but BRB.
Yeah, no worries.
I mean, I'm making a point there.
Yeah.
It's just easier to say BRB than be right back.
Yeah. The only thing I have
IRL. Do you say BRB IRL?
I say lol in real life as well, which really weirds people out.
Say lol.
Yes, but I'll say it with such a deadpan lol. Like if somebody was to like spill a drink on the desk, I'd just be like lol. I wouldn't actually laugh.
It's easier to laugh than it is to lol.
Yeah, but it hurts more when you laugh.
It does. It does when you lol at someone. Lol.
But yeah.
Well, damn. I feel like I want to be able to interact more with this fox. Stop pressing the button. You're going to make the fox angry. Wait, we can interact multiple times. Oh, the fox raises an eyebrow. Oh my gosh, this is so good. The fox is starting to snarl.
His back is worse than his bite.
They're reaching for the ban hammer. Oh no, we're getting kicked from the Discord in just a second. They hit you over the head. You're dead. No, could have been worse.
Oh, what?
Dysentery. Oh no.
As if Foxtrot just ruined the game.
Foxtrot just killed us because we couldn't figure out how to set up our pineapple because we can't count to 4. We should put that on the side of the box. Requirements: modern web browser, internet access,
ability to count
to 4. Oh my god! Wow. All right. We gotta shift gears here now because I'm just like I feel like we were doing so good. We got a cow. Although only when we met Foxtrot did it occur that we could interact more than once. And we made
we didn't try that anywhere else, did we?
Yeah, we could have probably gotten the sunglasses from well no, Foxtrot's wearing the sunglasses. We might have been able to poke Toby. Oh my gosh. Now I'm all right. Feel like this warrants picking back up. This is what we call a cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen, because while I would love to continue text adventuring, that is indeed not the reason we're here. Oh my gosh. Dude, Panic Acid, I'm stoked to see your box. That's not a euphemism.
Whoa. I mean, I know it said it was not safe for work, but
yeah, it's true. It's an NSFW stream.
Well, it goes anything.
Yeah. From one payload on to the next. What? No, seriously though, you have engineered a Wi-Fi box of doom, and that's about where my knowledge begins and ends.
Okay. To be fair, that's about where mine starts and stops as well.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking to Dragon about this last night, actually. And so many people have picked up my tweets and the stuff that I've been doing with what I call Baby Driver, the little wardriving rig.
You call it what?
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, because it's a tiny little wardriving rig.
Oh, cute.
And I'll be honest, I've got like major imposter syndrome about it.
Really? Why?
Because like, I'm a noob when it comes to stuff like this.
Dude, we're all noobs.
Yeah, no. Well,
I want a shirt that says I was a script kiddie. I mean, hell, I still am.
but yeah, I mean, so this, I'll show you. In fact, let me just unplug it because it's still plugged in. So this is obviously Baby Driver, which is just the cheapest hard case I could find on Amazon. I got the Wi-Fi Pineapple Mark 7 on top. And then it's just a Raspberry Pi with lots of wireless adapters in it. And to me, I'm like, yeah, it's cool. But so many people are like, oh, wow, I've always wanted to do that. And I'm like, then just do it.
Then do it.
It's so easy. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it's kind of Foxtrot's fault.
Really?
Yeah. So Foxtrot, he put in the Discord about the worldwide wardriving competition that you guys are doing, that the Wireless Village are doing at DEF CON. And he posted a link, and I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. I might build something to do it next year. And Foxtrot was like, just do it now. And I was like, yeah, but it's already started. It's like a few days in. I was like, I'll do something next year. I'll do it properly.
Yeah.
And then Steve Dave, obviously from Cali, what am I looking for? Raspberry Pi development team. He was like, just do it. Just use a phone. Just install the Wiggle app. You know, you don't even need to build anything to do it.
Yeah.
So I installed the Wiggle app and I went out wardriving, which in itself, my girlfriend was like, you going where? You doing what? I was like, I'm literally just going to drive around. So I chose my quadrant. I chose a decent playlist on Spotify, which is something that I recommend. And I went out driving with the mobile app. And I did okay. I got a couple of hundred wireless networks. I caught glitch up pretty quick, actually. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I thought, well, I've already got the Raspberry Pi. I've already got loads of these ATH9K adapters from when I was much younger. I thought, sod it, I'll just do it. So bought the case, started drilling some holes in it. And Foxtrot was like, I knew you had that much junk lying around that you could build something. And then it just kind of snowballed. It went from having like 3 adapters to, I wonder if I can get some other adapters. So I got the MT76s, you know, the same ones that are compatible.
Oh, yeah.
But I
love those MT76s. Way better than any of those Realtek 8812s.
Well, the only problem with the ones that I've got is they're these really cheap versions which need USB mode switch. Because when you first plug it in, it comes up as a CD-ROM drive with the drivers on. So,
they think they're doing you such a favor.
They're not.
No. Although I do love USB mode switch because the simplicity of that, it literally sits there looking for a vid in a PID and it knows what byte to send it. It's like,
well, that's okay if you know how USB mode switch works.
Well, which was an opportunity to learn USB mode switch, which I spent
was indeed
too much time getting intimate with in the Mark 5 days when I was trying to make, 3G at the time modems work with it.
Yeah, because they'd show up as like a removable storage drive first of all, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that beautiful too? I mean, this is something that, like looking at the key croc we were just doing, where it showed up right now as just human interface device, right? But it could also be serial storage, whatever you want. So you could technically USB mode switch a Bash Bunny or a key croc by making the payload go into a different attack mode. That's literally what the in that case the radio is doing. It's going into a different, what we would call an attack mode, because it's presenting itself. It's sending a USB descriptor saying like, yo dog, I'm a mass storage. Here's my stuff. But if I see this byte, I'm totally gonna just re-enumerate with the host, and the host. So this is ripe for abuse, and it's literally what we're doing when we switch attack modes, and will never be solved because there's so many products on Earth that do this.
Yeah, well, it's like at
work.
It's
a blessing and a curse.
Yes, it is. But I was talking to, so we've got like a SOC team. We do security as a service, which I'm not actually part of that team, probably because I spend too much time breaking stuff. And I took the Bash Bunny into work, and I was testing the Print Nightmare payload on my work machine, because where else are you going to test it?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to test it in a real world environment, and plus it's my work machine. I know it's not doing anything too nefarious. And straight away it popped up on Defender for Endpoint, which is a Microsoft product, and it was like a Bash Bunny has been plugged into this device. And I messaged Foxtrot. I was like, do you know Microsoft identify your device by name in the logs on Defender for Endpoint?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And the guy on our SOC team was like, right, how do we stop it? And I was like, well, there's no real way to stop it, because Windows will always trust a human input device, a human interface device, and it will always trust a network device. those are the two things that Windows wants to do out of the box: is
Mhm.
accept input
Convenience.
on network. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you say, it's both a blessing and a curse for stuff like that.
It's a cat and mouse game, and there's an extent to which we want to be the best mouse or cat, depending on the way that you're looking at this, because there's an argument to be made that, like, okay, don't equip high schoolers with, you know, clandestine gear that's actually like impossible to detect. So, for instance, you know, like if you really want to fingerprint a land turtle, like go ahead, like it's kind of obvious. But if you know that and you're, you know, a little more savvy than the average bear, then there's certain things that you can do yourself to make it less detectable. So for you. So for that audience, go ahead. And for the high school kids, like maybe not, you know?
Yeah, well, I was on the forums a while ago because people were like, "Oh, the Ducky's useless because I'm plugging it in and it's getting detected by my antivirus." And I was like, "Yeah, but how do you think it's detecting it? What do you think it's looking at?" And it's like it's hardware IDs, and there's literally there's a string that you can use to change them. So how about it?
And unfortunately, where I say, depending on your perspective, there's not that many of these device identifiers. I mean, there's like, for instance, I don't want to get too into the weeds here because we're doing a lot of development related to this, but there's there's telltales on both the host side and the device side in USB that allow you to enumerate what they are, and USB is a very trusting protocol that just, you know, there's only a few things in the descriptor. You've got what the vendor ID, the product ID, serial number, manufacturer, product ID. You know, you've got a couple of strings, and actually most of it isn't necessary. Most of it is optional, so you can't rely on it. And if you you know, like cloning, when we clone a keyboard with the key Croc, it's you know, for certain keyboards, it's absolutely indetectable from the original, because the original is just like a vendor ID and a product ID, you know, maybe a serial number. Ooh, so how do you determine whether or not it's trustworthy? And the answer is you don't, without getting a lot more crafty. And at the end of the day, you probably should like secure on like, okay, well, what's the actual threat though, that they're going to keystroke inject some PowerShell? Well, let's maybe, you know, lock it down so that the user can't arbitrarily run some PowerShell. Like that might be, you know, that's your efforts are probably better put there than, you know, making your life living hell with regard to like being able to plug in a keyboard that's going to work, because somebody's going to spill coffee on their keyboard and need to go to the supply closet and grab a new one. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly the same thing our SOC guy came up with. He was like, "Okay, so what do we need to do? Start whitelisting USB devices?" I was like, "No, you don't want to go down that road."
No.
And it's like Lucky says, once you've got physical access to a box,
all bets are off.
Yeah, you've got it anyway.
Yeah, the gig is up.
Yeah, I saw you and MG were doing some cool stuff with Razer device IDs and hardware IDs with the Bash Bunny. Is there a payload for that yet? Have I missed that?
There's a bunch of these. Yeah, we put out you know, we were even going to do like a competition for these, but we were like, how far do we want to take this? Because it's exploit of the week, right?
Yeah.
In the same way that Print Nightwear was exploit of the week. And so in that case, it was, you know, Razer was one of the many vendors where their driver installer could be, you know, usurped to gain system, you know, privileges and so privilege escalation vulnerability there. And the only thing that, you know, Windows can use to detect whether or not it's a, you know, Razer keyboard being plugged in or steel case or whoever else is the vendor ID and the product ID. And there's no way to authenticate that because it's not like a driver that's got a signed certificate. And we're not living in a world of, you know, secure computing where your hardware has, you know, any kind of certificate like that. And it's just a very hard problem to solve. It'll probably get solved in our lifetime, you would hope, but also we're building on like decades of legacy. And in fact, you look at the HID standard, the human interface device standard that we know and love with USB, that's like so ubiquitous, goes back to the 90s. And when they implemented that, it goes back to like the 70s and 80s. it's from, you know, the AT keyboard scan code, the Profile 2 scan codes. Like there was a bunch of competing standards in the old original IBM PC and PC clone days, and they chose a certain subset of these because none of them were interoperable.
Mm-hmm.
And they all threw different scan codes, and over time, everybody kind of gravitated towards one standard. Wasn't even the best one. There was like 4 competing standards, but they went with the one that had the most adoption, which happened to be the easiest to implement. And then those got shoehorned into USB. So when they, you know, well, they get shoehorned into PS2, and PS2 got shoehorned into USB. So when the implementers forum is doing the human interface device specification as part of USB-A, they just took what was working and just put a wrapper around it. And so to this day, you can find, you know, scan codes and control character, like all of these nuances of how humans interact with computers. And it goes back to a decision that a couple of folks made back at IBM in the 80s. And they probably had no idea that, you know, all of these interrupts were going to be, you know, eventually shoehorned into another protocol like that. And because of that, we've got barcode scanners and printers and cash register drawers and all sorts of things that speak this. And so it makes it a very sticky and difficult situation, because it's not like only in the era of the smartphone have we seen the ability to do a complete reset where we're like, okay, we just rebooted computer. What is computer now? Okay, like, and then reinvent, like, okay, well, smartphones operate this way. And we end up in a world with like app stores and certificate pinnings and things like that make them more secure. I say that caveat being even as we've been seeing recently, you know, hell, we demonstrated an Android brute force attack with the Ducky, like at this point, almost 10 years ago. And that's still the case. You can still plug a keyboard into a, you know, an Android or even an iOS and just throw key strikes.
Type out pins.
Yeah, because, you know, it's a human. So yeah, I really thought with mobile that it was going to be a full reset, but there's still, even then, like, oh, let's be backwards compatible with the, you know, the broken ass world there was.
Well, I was reading an interesting story a while ago about the width of the American railroads. And I don't know if you've heard this story about, I think it's something like the 4.5 meters wide.
I know it, but please continue it. Yeah. I've got a Russian friend that will tell you fun stories about bogies being replaced on trains coming from Siberia.
Right, fair enough. But yeah, the story read that the American railway, and these numbers are probably wrong, but 4.5 meters wide. And it said the reason the American rail lines are 4.5 meters wide is because that's how the English train designers helped build them. And the reason we had them that wide is because that's how wide horse and carriages were back in our day, you know, when we used to build horse and carts. And the reason they were that wide is because the Romans built the roads that wide. And the reason the Romans built the roads that wide is because that's how wide their chariots were. And it kind of goes on about how when the Americans are building rockets to launch into space, they have to travel by railroad.
Yeah.
So the size of the rockets that are putting man into space are defined by the width of a railroad that was built in Roman times. And I just think that when you think about things like that, it's kind of like, wow, you know, a decision so far ago,
oh my God,
still making an impact today.
There's something so beautiful about that. I absolutely love that notion. And it applies to so many things, like the unintended consequences of choosing a standard. And at the end of the day, they're just trying to choose good enough, get it going, like, as we all are. You know, we're all just trying to like keep the machine running, you know, or make a solution good enough that it solves the problem of the day. And it's some future generation's problem to figure out why they continue to adopt it instead of iterate.
Yeah. It's not my problem. You used it. No choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like Print Nightmare. You know, that affected Windows OS's as far back as are currently live, as far as I'm aware, because the spooler service, it's never really had to change. It's never had to evolve. And the point and print restrictions that Microsoft used for allowing users to install print drivers, it kind of made sense. You know, if you've got a printer and it's installed on the network, do you want your user to be able to install it without pestering an administrator? Well, yeah, okay. The default behavior is yes, allow them to do it. The scary thing now is that Microsoft's fix for Print Nightmare is to change the default behavior so that now users cannot install printers. But what sysadmins are going out and doing is they're putting a reg key in that stops it changes it back to the original behavior. So you're kind of taking yourself back to being exploitable. So I'm looking at revisiting the payload for Print Nightmare with literally just adding a reg key in at the beginning. And that will make the system susceptible to Print Nightmare again.
Well, let's definitely talk offline about that, because I've been sitting on a payload. Well, I have an ODay that I've been meaning to. The problem is I've proof of concepted it, but I haven't like perfected it. And this is one of those things where it's like, well, good would have been good enough had I released it like 4 years ago when I came up with this, but takes advantage of similar stuff. And I'm now curious how effective it is with the most recent changes. But at the end of the day, if it's just a reg key change, then Bob's your uncle.
We'll send it over. I'll run it on my work machine. That's where I test all my payloads.
I'll add you to the research, because I really need to finesse this one. And it's like, it's a beautiful payload that kind of illustrates like what's possible when you take advantage of literally what the user can do. I feel like we give so much privilege to the user. That Edward Snowden can walk out of the NSA with a flash drive full of goodies.
I see a lot of guys developing payloads and a lot of people working on stuff online are doing tutorials. I mean, YouTube's full of tutorials now on hacking and stuff. And they always elevate, like just traditionally, like there'll be a local admin on the system and they'll elevate. And I always think to myself, there's no challenge in doing that, because in the majority of the real world, UAC is an issue. The user is not a local administrator. Sometimes you get lucky and they are, but the majority of times they're not. It's like, I could have, when I was developing the Print Nightmare thing, I could have just turned Defender off and been like, yeah, look, it works. And it's like, it doesn't work in the real world.
No, it doesn't. No. And a lot of payloads are like that. And then, people that maybe aren't hackers, but get the tools, and it's fine because it's part of their journey and they will become hackers, I remember running scripts that I didn't understand and how they worked or what they did. And then I started to learn to program, and there you go. But, you still have to get your feet wet somewhere. I mean, hell, I had no idea what my red box was doing when it was putting tones into a payphone until I had, started to read, the actual, guides behind what the AT&T automated coin toll system was doing with them. But in any event.
So what were you doing? Were you generating coin drops then?
Yeah. It would change a crystal on a Radio Shack tone dialer, and then it would normally play the dual tone multi-frequency tones that a payphone was expecting to hear, or any phone for that matter, for the digits, 0 through 9 star and pound on a phone pad. And as it turns out, this particular frequency crystal would change the obviously the frequency that the tones were making, and it was the same one that AT&T was using to determine whether or not a quarter was put in, and at least on one of the keys, on the star key. So it was enough to know it in theory, like, okay, that's kind of how it's working or why it's working. But the novelty wore off pretty quickly. Like, okay, a couple of free phone calls is fun as a gag, as a parlor trick or whatever. But then it loses its charm after you've, done it enough times where it's like, okay, well, how, why, next thing you know, you're a 13-year-old calling Harris Draken and getting manuals and, reading specification guides and like getting deep into the CCITT Blue Book and all sorts of like weird things that like have nothing to do with where you began, because you're actually seriously interested. And that's why I'm like, everybody should start as a script kiddie and see where it takes them, because it's either going to the party trick was enough and you're like, haha, look, I opened up calculator or notepad and I typed hello world, blah, 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 or I rickrolled you, like, great. And then for some other people, they're gonna be like, wait a second. Next thing you know, they're like sitting there with a face dancer or a great fet, like dissecting the USB protocol and understanding like all the descriptors and all of the frames that are being sent that are actually like, making this happen. And, why not?
Well, I think that's where the journey starts for most people. Like there was somebody on the Discord server the other day, and he was like, I want to run this payload. but it's popping up with UAC. And I was like, okay, now you need to look at either UAC bypass or like privilege escalation. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go away and Google those now. And I was like, the only thing you've got to be careful about nowadays is old content. There's just so much of it out there. Like the amount of people that join the Discord server and like, okay, I read that I can crack WEP in like 10 seconds. And it's like, yeah, that's dead. That's gone. You know, and they're like, oh, okay, what about SSL split? And it's like, okay, 5 years ago, HSTS killed that. Look for slightly newer resources online. But for me, that's half the fun is trying stuff. Did it work? No, okay. Why did it work back then? And is there any way to try and make it work now? And this, that, and the other. And I think that's, like you say, people either take that journey or they just kind of rickroll you and be like, that was cool. And then,
yeah, and you know that's fine because on their journey as a human, that wasn't their calling, that wasn't their thing. Maybe they're going to end up being some other pick a different field, amazing thing, and you got to try it all.
Suck it and see, as we say in the UK.
What's this?
Oh, suck it and see.
Suck it and
see. So
suck it
like,
and see. Got it.
Suck it and see, yeah.
Well, in this case, I'm going to suck it in SEA myself through the Caribbean. And maybe I got a calling there. Maybe I don't, but you don't know until you try.
Yeah, no, you don't. Which is one of the reasons that I'm a licensed ham operator, amateur drag racer, drone pilot. You just gotta do lots of different things to know what you like.
All of them. Yeah. I feel like sometimes, when I realize all of the geeky, amazing hobbies and, it's a terrible word for it because it's just like stuff to do that's fun. That sometimes makes money, sometimes doesn't, and who cares because fun. I get kind of sad that I'm like, damn it, I really want more lives, Like I grew up with games where you'd get 3 of these at least, and jump on the boss's head to make it to the next one. And I'm like, this is the one I got. This is it. Like
IRL is a terrible game.
Oh yeah, and then you get taxes. Oh, I dropped an F-bomb. Wow, that's the first one on a stream.
Well, anyway, I'm glad I
only in relationship to taxes too. So that now you know where my heart is.
Yeah, no, I didn't say the F word. Foxtrot, if you're watching, just so you know. Because I know Foxtrot, I swear a lot. When I left school, I started work as a fabricator and welder, and it was a very manual job, and we flourished everything we said with swear words. So it's a habit.
You're speaking to somebody who's about to become a sailor, so I got to start embracing that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to practice it. Not on stream though. I would recommend not on stream.
No. But yeah, swearing and rum. There you go. I think that's all you really have to do is just curse and drink rum and
keep the shit away from land. Keep it on the wet bit. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Keep it in the wet bit. That's good advice. Oh man, dude. So so going back to your Wi-Fi box of doom.
Yes.
I forget how we got on this. Like,
sorry,
great
it's my
little
fault.
Tangent. No, don't be. I'm having a great time, man. So the crux of it is you got a Raspberry Pi running a wardriving. Is it Kismet?
Yes, so it's running Raspbian Light. A lot of people are like, why don't you put Kali on there and this, that, and the other? And I thought, well, I want to keep it as light as possible. So it runs Raspbian Light. It's got Kismet on there, which again, Dragon's been absolutely fantastic and patient. That's one of the best things I can say about this community is the patience that people have had.
The fact that you can talk to the developer straight up.
Yeah. I mean, I would 100% anybody watching the stream, don't pester these people. But if you politely just go, oh, by the way, I'm having an issue with this, put it out there, see what comes back. I mean,
and if you give details,
so always give details, yeah. There's nothing worse than going, it's broken.
If you say no, plugged in pineapple, no worky,
yeah,
not much I can do to help you.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
If you're like, if you're saying like, hey, every time I do X, I'm experiencing Y when I'm expecting Z. How do I make Z? Then you actually have something to work with.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've had a couple of issues with this, and Dragon's had to come back to me and say, I need you to get these, because I'll be honest, I'm a Linux noob. I'm a Windows guy, I work within the Microsoft stack.
Sure.
But I'm learning every day. So Dragon's come back to me and said, look, I need these logs, and these logs, otherwise I have no idea what it's doing. And I've sent him over a couple of logs. And to like Foxtrot's testament, it's the same thing I've done with the Pineapple, because I've had a really weird issue with my Pineapple where it would just stop running recons. And Foxtrot, again, been very patient. He's taken a lot of logs and he's looked at the issue. And as far as I'm aware, it's fixed. Touch wood, it's working fine now. But that's the best thing about this community, is that you can actually reach out to these people that are involved in it hands-on, and you can say, look, I'm having these issues. Is this right? Am I doing something stupid? So far, 9 times out of 10, it's been me doing something stupid.
Every now and then, though, they're like, oh, that's a bug. I got to fix that.
Yeah, well, Dragon did actually say that there was an issue, or there was a lock within the Linux cap Wi-Fi code for Kismet that's meant to pause until it gets a lock on the network card and then carry on. And the way Dragon described it to me is it was supposed to go, get lock, yes, okay, move on. What it was doing is, get lock, no, I've not got lock. Okay, cool, let's carry on. And then it was just going through and carrying on without it.
Yeah.
So I'm
which is what it was. It's just doing what it was told.
Yeah.
It's so naive.
Yeah. So yeah, Dragon fixed that, and actually it's working great now. But I've had so many problems building this rig. Like, I think I've got it working perfect, and then something will go wrong. I mean,
I'm really curious how you're powering the thing, because that's a lot of cards and it adds up. You know, you're talking high end, 500 milliamps each at 5 volts. And then you've got your Raspberry Pi, and then it looks like you've even got a pineapple up there.
Yes, I have. So power was one of the biggest issues that I had. This is the 3rd powered USB hub that I've got in here, because I started off with a non-powered USB hub. Quickly realized that wasn't sufficient. So then I ran a externally powered USB hub that was, I think it was about 2 amps, which immediately insufficient. So I've now got a 5 volt, 4 amp powered USB hub in there. And all the power distribution comes in through this DC jack here, which gets 5 volts going into it. So at the moment I've got like a power brick, which I can just plug in when I'm using it on my desk and stuff. So all power distribution is done through that, which then using insulation tape and twisting wires together, I've done it properly. I'm not going to cut corners.
Wait, it's not even soldered.
No, just twisted and taped. Because it's a work in progress. Things are going to change.
Sure. You think can move.
Wink. So that splits power off to the UPS hat for the Raspberry Pi, which is down there, and then I've also split that into power for the hub. But again, even doing something as simple as that, because I found that as soon as I disconnected power from the side of the box, which simulates like me turning the car off, just pulling this out, the UPS hat would immediately trip out because it was pulling way too many amps with the powered hub and everything else going on. So I was like, okay, well, I need to cover the 5 volt pin on the USB lead for the hub. So what I actually did was, because it was USB 3 and taping over it didn't work, I took it apart with a pair of pliers, pulled out the 5 volt pin and bent it all back together. But then none of the USB cards were showing up at all in Linux when I booted it up. So again, Dragon to the rescue. It was like, well, what's probably going on is because it's a cheap, crappy hub, the actual hub interface chip is probably taking 5 volts off the USB line, not off the 5 volts coming in. So took it apart, found out which pin was doing that, and then I've actually stolen 5 volts off of the barrel connector and just soldered it straight onto where it would have been picking it up from the USB lead.
Just bypassed it completely.
Just bypassed it, yeah. Which works. So what I'll show you now is, I don't know if you can see, we've got all the blinking lights on there.
Yeah, here, let me turn it off.
As soon as I pull power, the hub goes off, but the actual Pi carries on running. And what that's doing, as soon as I've pulled power, is it's shutting down Kismet, it's cleaning up the database, it's cleaning up the logs.
Oh, nice. So you're not just yanking the power on the computer and then you just like end up with a corrupted file system. And so it can detect that power has been removed and now it's on battery?
It can now. So I mentioned that I've gone through 3 USB hubs. I've also gone through 3 UPS hats, which was a huge pain. So the issue I had originally was I used a DF Robot Raspberry Pi hat, which is just crap. Save your money, don't buy it. It doesn't have a really good way to query the battery. There's no way of telling if it's on charge or not. What you actually have to do, and shout outs to Koala on Discord, you have to constantly check what the voltage is and use your own Python script to see if the voltage has gone down.
And then if it's gone down, you know you're on a battery.
You know you're on battery, yeah. So it was me and Koala that came up with that, a huge collaborative thing.
Cool.
I couldn't have done it. He wrote it all in Python for me. I don't know Python.
I mean, it probably could have, depending on depending on how you query it, which is probably some GPIO, you could write it in really anything, but it's just a loop that's checking, hey, if the voltage is lower than 5.
Yeah, and then stores the last one as a variable, then compares that variable with the current reading and does some math.
If A is less than B, there you go.
Yeah, then we know we're off power and we're using battery.
Gotcha. And then you can sync the file system and all of that jazz.
Yes. The only problem is the DF robot hat can only kick out, I think, less than 2 amps. So immediately it was crapping itself and dying. So I was like, okay.
But if you just kill the USB radios, which you don't need to be on while it's shutting things down.
Well, this was a learning journey. I didn't know that back then. I just thought I need to buy a better UPS hat. So I went out and I bought which I've still got here, actually, I need to do something with. I went out and bought the Pi Sugar 2 Pro, which Steve Dave, again, huge shout out to that guy for giving me some cool ideas. He was like, it's the best UPS hat you can get for the money. So I bought that one, and sure enough, it kicks out like 3.5 amps. So it's a really decent UPS hat. Only problem is, if the battery goes completely flat, it will not automatically power back on. You have to push a button to power it back on. So in my ideal configuration, this is in the boot of my car, powered up. I get in, I turn the key on, it powers on, it does its magic stuff. I get to where I'm going, I turn the key off, it does more magic stuff. That's the most technical I can describe it. Yeah.
No, that's what you want.
Yeah, magical stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, the Pi Sugar 2 isn't going to cut it because I don't want to have to push this button on it all the time to get it to do stuff. I just want to turn the ignition on in the car, have it pick up the voltage and do its thing. So then I started looking at the Pi Juice. I think it's called, the Pi Juice, which is one of the best UPS sats you can get for the Raspberry Pi. And they're about £60 British. I don't know what that is in dollars. And I was like, yeah, but I've already spent so much money on this rig, and I was meant to be building it with crap that I had lying around. Anyway, I looked on eBay and I found one on eBay for about £20 used. So it's now got the Pi Juice in there, and that's working great now that I've bypassed the 5 volt to the USB hub, because that was tripping out straight away. As soon as I pulled power, it was tripping out. And yeah, it's awesome because there's a really cool command line interface for it, and you can do stuff like if off power, if below a certain percentage, if power is restored. So and now
can it speak to the Pi?
Yes, it does. And of all the UPS sats that I've tried, when it turns the Pi off, it actually cuts voltage to the Pi.
Oh, so it's not a vampire draw that's just going to drain the battery flat.
It actually just stops it. So the Pi Sugar 2 Pro, which is a great UPS hat, doesn't. It keeps power going to it. Now I've got a tiny little 5 volt fan that's connected to the GPIO headers, and that was staying on, and that was flattening the Pi Sugar. Then the Pi Sugar won't come back on automatically. So I was getting to the point where I was going to start adding relays in. I was like, I'm going to put a relay in, and the relay can turn the fan. And I thought, I'm overcomplicating it. Let's just get a Pi hat that can cut power.
I love that. I didn't realize that the UPS had some intelligence and has like a battery management system, and then can speak to the Pi over whatever it is, serial or whatever have you. But that sounds really nifty. I love the idea that you're just simply bypassing the hub, so that when the power goes off, like just turn off the hub, and then thus all the radios that are connected to it. You could technically just tell that, hey, you're on battery power because you run LS USB and suddenly half your devices are gone.
Nothing's there anymore. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So rather than even checking the voltage, you could just check like, hey, did I lose all my radios? Because if I did, then I know I'm on power. But that's very specific to your application. And you're using a much more like, if this were to be implemented by somebody else and they decided to, if you put this design out there and somebody else were to, suddenly like change it up and do their own thing with it, and that they, that it would also work for them.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that many people reached out to me on Twitter, and obviously I'm sure anybody who's into wireless and wardriving, they're familiar with people like Dark Matter, the guy who built the Kraken. He immediately shared it on Twitter, and so many people were like, oh, I've been wanting to build one of these, and I've been trying to do this, and these are the problems that I've been having. And I kind of felt empowered by the fact that I've just had that exact same problem and came up with a solution. So I was trying to share all this knowledge. I was like, no, you don't want to do this. No, you want to tape over the 5 volt pin, or just do what I do and rip the 5 volt pin out. And I shared as much of that knowledge as I could. And any users that I couldn't help, I sent towards like Dragon's Discord channel and other places. But even
Yeah.
now, I've still got people. There's a guy. I can't remember his name. I'm going to have to check Discord. 2 seconds. There is a guy. What is his name? Because I've been talking to him in the hardware chat. Clue. So there's a guy called Clue at the minute who's seen the fact that I've got the pineapple strapped to the back of this, and he's like, "Okay, how are you doing that?" And I was talking to Dragon about it, and we are trying to come up with loads of creative ways of doing stuff. But essentially, if I plug the USB-C cable from the Mark 7 into the Raspberry Pi, I've got a new Ethernet adapter. So I can literally use Network Manager to say, if this interface is up, run this bash script that SSH.
And you can run it. There's like, I love this hack, but it's not a hack. It's just like the way it works. But you can run SSH credential, root at 172.16.40.2.1 space a command, right? And then if you've got your public private keys shared, etc. for authentication, it won't, and you're not using a passphrase, it's not going to prompt for a password, and therefore you can, over a single command, say, hey, go run this command.
Yeah.
And so you can instruct the pineapple over the command line
to start running Kismet Wi-Fi capture Linux, connect to remote Kismet. Yeah. I'm still working on that aspect of it. For the minute, I'm manually jumping in and I'm doing it. But
so this is to wardrive. Tell me about the actual wardriving element of that.
In what sense?
Well, so is it just looking for, so this, I haven't looked too much into the Wireless Village competition, but is it just about access points, or is it access points and clients?
So it's just about finding new networks, at least as far as the worldwide wardriving competition was.
Now, and so the idea is to find ones that aren't already in Wiggle?
And some additional ones to prove that you're not cheating.
Okay, I was about to say, because with a pineapple, you can just make
generate a lot of them. Yeah. So one of the things that they did to kind of make sure that people weren't just fudging data and sending it up to Wiggle was they had these things called foxholes, which were wireless networks that Wiggle was already aware of in your area when you started wardriving. So you picked a quadrant on Wiggle and said, I'm going to wardrive this. And they kind of picked, I think it was 10 networks that they were already familiar with. And if you also picked up those foxholes, it added a multiplier to your score. Now, I think I ended up getting 7 of my foxholes, but people like El Cantaro, I think they got all 10 of theirs. And I mean, El Cantaro was an absolute hero because he did his on foot.
Wow.
He was walking.
And was this time boxed? Was there like a... is this still going?
No. So it was 7 days, I think.
Okay.
Or 5 days. But I actually only really started in the last 3 days. I did on the 3 days before I finished. I started with the Wiggle app. And then I kind of thought, okay, well, this has got me interested, but it's not actually performing that well. I want to perform better. I'm very competitive in nature. I was like, I want to do better, which is then when I built Baby Driver, and I immediately went from top 100 to top 5. And I finished fifth place.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The guy who won it I think he had 5 Samsung Galaxy S6s running the Wiggle app. And obviously the more phones you've got with the app, the more channel hopping it's doing.
So that's it. He just fit, through more, just made a Beowulf cluster of Samsung phones.
Yeah. And obviously
it's not nearly as fun.
No, I had a lot more fun building this. And I think I've worked out that I've got 5 radios built into Baby Driver. And then I've got the Wi-Fi Pineapple, which Foxtrot was like, you're going to have a bad time if you do this, but I can use WLAN 0 through to 2 to send through to my Kismet server on the Pi. And if I want to get really crazy with the number of radios that I've got, I can actually just put one of these in there as well. And yeah, you can, I mean, the power's the only real limit to.
Yeah, my friend, you need a coconut.
I was going to mention the coconut.
Anyway, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's going to be. I'll find those in Panama.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or Aruba. That's why I'm sailing to Aruba. It's actually
to get the coconuts. Okay.
It's part of a product development mission. Things are backed up in China. It's really hard to get chips right now. It's slowing down product development. I know we got this coconut thing that we're trying to get at the door. So I should probably go to Aruba and see if I can get like a lot of coconuts.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably just pick them up off the floor over there.
I might have to climb a palm tree or two, but that notwithstanding, that's that's project research. Ooh, does that mean I can write off all of this as a work expense?
Yeah, R&D.
Yeah, suddenly it's like the IRS is like, you did what?
Yeah, R&D. Launching coconuts. So I went and got some coconuts.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I've got a lovely bunch.
But yeah, I mean, the thing with Baby Driver is you're only really limited by the amount of space and power that you've got. And a lot of the guys that I was talking to on Twitter, they were trying to do it with batteries, and they were like, I'm trying to back everything up, trying to run everything off a battery. It's like, why? You've got a generator in your car. You put fuel in your car and you turn a key and it's generating power. Just use the power that's coming from your car.
Oh yeah.
So all I did was, because I drive a small smart car. I've got a 2-seater smart, the Smart 4.2, the really tiny little thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, parking that must be a breeze.
Oh, it is. And it's great on fuel. I think doing the whole war driving competition, I used like less than £30 worth of fuel. So it was fun.
Nice.
But I have a big subwoofer in the back because I'm a bit of a bass junkie. So obviously when I turn my ignition on, my subwoofer turns on, the radio sends a signal down to turn the subwoofer on. So I've literally taken the remote wire from the head unit, put it onto a 12-volt relay, which switches a 12-volt to 5-volt buck converter, which powers that. So
perfect.
Yeah. So the idea is, as soon as I get home on the driveway, kill the ignition, it looks for my wireless network.
Ooh, and then connects and transmits?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So it does a DB cleanup in Kismet for all the DB, for all the files it's downloaded. It will then convert those into CSV in Wiggle format. And if it can connect to the internet, it will upload them to Wiggle as well automatically. If it can't, it keeps them in a folder called staging.
Okay.
And a huge shout out to El Cantaro for that code as well, because it's on his GitHub. So if anybody's wondering how you can go from Kismet to Wiggle in one script, check out El Cantaro's GitHub.
Nice. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask, considering, you've done a lot of research on this and putting together and building on the shoulders of giants between Dragon and El Cantaro and everybody else to, forget the guy's name you were telling me that built the Python script for the battery system.
Koala. Yeah,
Koala. And so do you have this documented on your GitHub or blog or somewhere else?
Do you think I should?
I think you should. I think a lot of people would be like inspired, and I think especially if the Wireless Village does this again, this would be something that people would be like, oh damn, I'm gonna build me one of those. And think about all the kids that were like, oh, I want to build one of these, but I don't know how. And then they see a parts list, and then they're like, oh, but I got to solder, I don't know how. And then no,
just twist the wires and tape them up. If you do it with panic acid. I mean, we're only
shouldn't be advocating that, but we've all been there.
It's only 5 volts. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I mentioned earlier, I've a lot of imposter syndrome around it because to me, I just threw some crap in a case and had problems. I would probably be more impressed with myself if it worked first time, but it probably wouldn't have been fun if it worked first time.
It would not be nearly as rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and now it's your baby. So now it's your baby driver.
Baby driver, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely, thanks to Foxtrot, I have now learned how GitHub works. I was very naive on how GitHub works, and I made a few dodgy pull requests.
Yeah, it's frustrating that it's not the barrier to entry is slightly higher than a forum post. And once you get your head around it, it makes absolute sense. We, are trying to make it, we're trying to really simplify that, especially as we, with the, coming back to the thing I was telling you about, the systems, you're our first winner of this Payload Hero, a thing that got launched before there was a system in place to support it. But essentially, payloads.hak5.org now has like a little submission helper tool thing to help you get you to the right place to submit a payload to the right repository in the right category with a name that doesn't have spaces in it and, all that jazz. And then it will soon be even more helpful. But I really I feel like it's like the right thing to get people using the right tool, which is, hey, let's just teach you just enough to get a pull request going. And then suddenly you're like, oh, and it's not that scary and hard.
Yeah.
And then you can, have the confidence to get more involved with open source projects that, because it's one of the more predominant repositories for those kinds of things. So it's a good thing.
That's where the Wi-Fi Pineapple Connect came from, because obviously the Print Nightmare payload was the first payload I'd ever written for somebody else's consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've messed about with stuff myself, and I've kind of hashed things together that do what I need them to do, but I've never put anything out there for somebody to go, well, that's crap. Because if you don't try, you don't fail, which was my way of looking at it for a long time. But thanks to encouragement from the Hak5 community, yourself and Foxtrot and whatnot, I got the Print Nightmare one done, which honestly was a community effort. There was huge help from people on Twitter and huge help from people on the Hak5 Discord for that one. Cribbit. Oh,
sorry, go on. Yes.
No,
all the props. Let's
all the props to everybody. Huge one to Cribbit, because without that copy and paste PowerShell script that he gave me, we would have been typing that thing out, and that would have.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's brilliant. That was, of all the things, that's the technique that I love the most, because it was
too.
Oh my god, like so smart. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm using that in the Wi-Fi Pineapple Connect. I think to grab a load of code and just dump it straight in PowerShell.
I would love to have you on again to go through that payload, and also to go through some more payloads, because we've got just way too many pull requests that we need to get through. There's so many amazing creative payloads that need to get rewarded.
I've noticed you chipping away.
There's only so much of. I mean, we've mentioned the three. I don't even claim to be a developer, but it's myself and Foxtrot and Corbin, and unfortunately, or for better or worse, we're always working on some new shinies, and I can't wait for you guys to see the shinies. They're going to be great. But yeah, definitely need a hand with that, because there was just so many pull requests. And so I've just built out what I think is a sustainable system to do this rewards thing that I want to do. Anyway, conversation for another time. Sorry, I'm talking fast because I'm realizing my battery's at 5%. I still haven't plugged in the damn. I should have just done that before the stream, and I've used all my USB-C ports on my MacBook Pro here. And so I was like, why is my video getting choppy? And I'm like, oh, my machine is throttling itself because my battery is about to be dead. This has been a lot of fun. I wanted to make sure that we got all those props out there. I feel like this was actually a really inspiring and awesome stream. We touched on a lot of cool stuff I didn't expect.
I appreciate you having me on, because like I say, at first I was absolutely terrified, and probably much like everybody else out there that's done something cool, you kind of don't appreciate the fact that other people find it useful or found it helpful or thought it was cool themselves.
It's great. And the thing is, like, the hardest step is starting, and you grab the microphone, you grab the soldering iron, you grab the code, you grab whatever it is for the field. And that's the difference between the person that's on stage and the person that's in the audience, is just that first step. Every morning I do a little bout of yoga, nothing crazy, but just like a great way to start the day. And of all of the things that I do, all the chaturangas and downward dogs and pigeons and everything else, right? The hardest move in yoga is the one where you bend down and you roll out the mat, and then you step on it.
And you start. The hardest moves are first. Yeah.
And you've done that, and that's the difference between a maker and a consumer. And I got to hand you credit for that. And welcome to the club. And yeah, if you're feeling the imposter syndrome, that's okay. That's okay. Try 16 years later, I can wear that hat as well. So
you're not alone, buddy. That's for sure.
Just embrace it, because we're all there. Dude, this has been so much fun. I'm now at 2%. I need to shut down the stream so that I can plug in some juice and get going the rest of the day. But man, thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
We have to have you on again. Too much fun. And we have to beat this text adventure, because we got killed by Foxtrot.
I won't read the code if you don't.
I'm not reading it. No. But we're definitely committing this today, because other people need to get in on this. And maybe by the time we play this again, people will have submitted a pull request to maybe add a few more trinkets to the room that requires more pull requests.
Hopefully so. Right, well, I'll let you get some power in. Thanks for having me, and everybody, thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. All right. Take care. Eric T, Clark05, Lucky225, Shadowmaster666, literally everybody that joined in. I really appreciate all of you guys. This is just something that we do for fun, and it's been fun. So take care. See you next week, and trust it.
See ya. Bye.